Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
And we begin with breaking news from Pennsylvania, where a small jet has crashed in the northern part of the city. It went down only seconds after takeoff. Fox 17 News just confirmed this Lear jet was a medical flight that had 6 people on board. The company in charge of that plane says there are no survivors. One passenger, we're told, was a child. Take a look at this. This is dash cam video that shows the moment that plane crashed on the road and then burst into flames. And you see that mushroom, huge fireball erupting off a busy road near a residential area and a shopping mall. Now, this is the scene just moments later as first responders are rushing to get into that area to see what they can do to help. There are reports that multiple cars and some homes either were or still are on fire. Now, for those familiar with this area, the dual-engine jet crashed near Roosevelt Mall, again on the north side of Philadelphia, because the plane had just taken off. It was loaded with fuel, and that fuel is responsible for the flames you see here, the heavy smoke and that fireball. Witnesses also report a huge debris field.
And when it happened, it was like a movie, honestly. The explosion flew all the way up into the sky, and the whole building was shaking. Everything was shaking, and pieces of debris flying all around, all over here. So when it happened, I went down there to go see what was going on. And mind you, all black smoke covering everything. The houses ended up catching on fire down there, and like I said, there was plane pieces everywhere on the ground, or pieces of metal everywhere on the ground.
Pennsylvania's Governor Josh Shapiro says he's in contact with city officials and is offering state resources to assist with the response here, which is sizable. Fox 17 News will continue to monitor this breaking story throughout the newscast to bring you new information not only during the newscast but also online at our website, fox17.com. Tonight's jet crash happened just 48 hours after the mid-air collision between a military helicopter and a commercial flight in Washington, D.C. As reporter Tom Rousey shows us, technology is now helping investigators there piece together what happened in that case.
A board member with the National Transportation Safety Board said at a press conference that they have now recovered the black box from the Black Hawk helicopter that was involved in Wednesday night's midair collision with a commercial passenger jet here near Reagan National Airport. This comes after the news on Thursday that the NTSB had the cockpit voice recorder as well as the flight data recorder from that commercial jet. Now, they do say the cockpit voice recorder had some water intrusion, but they are confident ultimately they will be able to download information from it in their investigation. The NTSB was asked at the press conference, is what happened Wednesday a sign that near Reagan National Airport, just outside the nation's capital, there are just simply too many helicopters allowed near the many planes that take off here? This was the response.
What I can say is in this incident, it should not have happened. We have in aviation what's called a Swiss cheese approach, wherein if something fails, a backup should catch it. Multiple layers of redundancy.
At least for now, the new U.S. Transportation Secretary has announced a ban on military copters in a wide area near Reagan National Airport here. Reporting in Arlington, Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C., I'm Tom Rousey.
Tom, thank you. Now, tonight, 2 runways remain closed at Reagan National Airport. That caused about 100 flights throughout the day to be canceled. Fox 17 News has learned that Kia Duggins, one of the passengers in the D.C. crash, was a civil rights attorney who did some work here in Tennessee. The American Civil Liberties Union says that she was a tireless worker involved with trying to make Tennessee's bail system just and equitable for everybody. Duggins was returning, they say, to Washington after going to Kansas to be with her mother for a medical procedure, a surgery. Duggins was 30 years old.
Mommy loves you. And Mommy want to come see you as soon as she can.
New tonight, we are hearing from that local woman just days after she herself was shot and her infant son was killed in Murfreesboro. License plate reader technology helped to locate this suspect who Williamson County Sheriff's deputies say killed himself. Fox 17 News' Amanda Chin's in studio now after sitting down with the baby's mother.
This is Jericho Logue. He was only 1 year old. Through tears, his mom says her baby didn't deserve this and is still struggling to understand why. Juanita Luna Salazar says her son Jericho Logue was goofy, sweet, and loved to dance.
Just his smile, his big smile, and his eyes with his little curls, and just his cute little face and chubby cheeks.
But on Sunday, Jericho's life cut short after Murfreesboro police say 25-year-old Marquavius Hampton shot and killed Jericho at their apartment complex. Juanita says they had a disagreement over how loud the music was after she put it on for Jericho.
He's just a little baby. He doesn't know how to talk. He doesn't know how to argue back. He can't control his emotion. So I just...
Police say Juanita also had a gunshot wound to her hand.
I noticed that my baby was gone. I felt like my world just came crashing down because he didn't deserve that.
Williamson County Sheriff's deputies pursued the suspect after license plate reader cameras alerted them his car was in the county.
He was obviously a threat to the public, and this technology, license plate recognition cameras, gave us the ability to intercept him and try to apprehend him.
Before deputies could apprehend him, Sheriff Jeff Hughes says the suspect took his own life.
It's tremendously advantageous to law enforcement. Law enforcement, we can't be everywhere at all times. And these cameras are another resource for us in apprehending suspects like this person.
Juanita believes LPRs should be in every city, but knows nothing will ever bring her son back.
I just would never get that time back. I feel like I've been robbed.
Juanita says she wants to continue to honor Jericho's life by sharing his story. Now, there is a GoFundMe page set up for the family. We have that link on our website at fox17.com. Reporting in the studio, I'm Amanda Chen, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Amanda, thank you. In Operation Crime and Justice, a former Nashville school teacher accused of sexually assaulting a student is found not guilty. Nicholas Keel was charged with assaulting a 13-year-old on Labor Day back in 2021. A Metro Criminal Court jury, again as we say, found him not guilty today. Keel was a teacher at Oliver Middle School in South Nashville. Drinking for good health, the only 2 drinks experts recommend for your children and teenagers.
74 years ago to the day, Nashville was seeing its worst snow and ice storm that it's ever seen. Coming up, we'll show you just how bad it got.
And we continue to cover the crash of a medical jet in Philadelphia tonight. What witnesses say they saw right before this plane went down. An update now on our top stories. We continue to follow breaking news in Philadelphia, where a medical jet crashed a couple of hours ago near a shopping mall. The FAA says 6 people were on board, including a pediatric patient, a young person. Philadelphia's former police commissioner says that there are fatalities on the ground. We're not sure exactly how many or who's hurt. Here's the mayor.
As of right now, we have no reports on the number of fatalities. So right now we're just asking for prayers for any and everyone who may have been affected. We do want to note that several dwellings and vehicles were impacted.
So intense right now. A union leader is on record as saying that a Philadelphia firefighter has been injured who responded to the scene here. Now, President Trump is also reacting to the news of the second deadly plane crash our nation has seen in the last couple of days. Tonight, posting on his Truth social media page that he's sad to learn of more innocent souls lost. He is crediting first responders in Philadelphia, saying, quote, first responders are already being given credit for doing a great job. And he adds, God bless you all. Fox 17 News will continue to bring you updates as we get new information tonight on air during this newscast and online. A health alert tonight involving caffeine in children and teenagers. Now, the full impact is not known, but research does suggest that it could cause sleep problems, heart issues, and increased anxiety for your kids. And now some health experts are urging parents to keep children away from caffeinated drinks. Concerns about caffeine and added sugars in drinks aren't new, but some of the top health organizations are out with new guidelines targeting child and teen health.
The reality is there's a lot of items, a lot of beverages out there, like a lot of things, are promoted as healthy, and there's no evidence that they are.
Dr. Stephen Cook with Nationwide Children's Hospital says the hope is these new beverage recommendations will make it easier for parents to know what to avoid.
What are the healthier options? And understanding how we're kind of almost being manipulated to indulge in things that really aren't healthy for us at all.
The guidelines say children between 5 and 18 should drink plain water and plain pasteurized milk. They should avoid drinks with caffeine and other stimulants, sugared beverages, and those with non-sugar sweeteners. And the experts say limit 100% juice, flavored milk, and plant-based milk alternatives unless there is a specific medical reason.
We don't want to create a restrictive type of response list, like you never can have this. It's a once in a while type of opportunity. And once in a while isn't one a day per se. Maybe it's once a week or once every other week.
Now, the new guidelines say children 5 to 8 should drink about 40 ounces per day. 9 to 13, 61 ounces a day. And those between 14 and 18 should take in about 88 ounces of liquid per day. Monday on Fox 17 News at 9, we continue our investigation into the Tennessee Department of Children's Services. A family says the agency ignored their request to take in a relative, putting the child instead into foster care. Yushi and Jesse Howes wanted guardianship of their young nephew after his mother and father lost custody.
I'm a contractor. I work for the Department of Defense, work for the government, so I have a stable job. I have a clearance, work every day.
And I work in education. I've been in education for almost 9 years now. Prior to that, I was a lab supervisor and managed the processing area of a lab. We have 3 children, biological children of our own, and we are the grandparents of 4 beautiful grandchildren, and we are also foster parents ourselves. So we have all the love to give to our own blood.
DCS policy actually points to keeping families together. Question is, why didn't that happen in this case? Fox 17 News' Dennis Ferrier investigates Monday on Fox 17 News at 9. Katie, we had a day and a half or 2 of rain, and at a certain point today, around 1 o'clock, at least at my house, the sun came out and it was like, oh man, thank you. Just need a little brightness.
Yeah, the sun, I know, it's been a couple of days. Sunshine came out, and we're going to get a lot more of that as we head into the weekend. Now, I do think tomorrow morning will be cloudy, so don't wake up tomorrow and say, she said. But it will.
Which you know is what happens.
Yes, be patient. That's good. Right. It will end up being a nice weekend, especially second half of Saturday. And then going into Sunday, we're looking at a lot of sunshine and highs close to 70 degrees. This is a live look here downtown. Folks enjoying Broadway. Our temperature now in the upper 40s. So starting to feel a bit chilly out there. For the rest of tonight, we'll see those showers clear out. We're left with a wonderful weekend. Temperatures feeling comfortable for Saturday. It'll be a little cooler than what we had today, but still not too bad and above average, I might add. And then looking ahead to the record books, where we will be looking at temperatures to be at, if not above, record territory. Saturday, right around 42 with a mostly cloudy sky for the morning hours. Clouds will start to clear as we head into the later part of the afternoon, and that should allow temperatures to climb into those low 50s. Sunday, we're looking at temperatures in the 60s and more sunshine area wide. So I do think that Sunday, definitely the better day of the 2, but really both days looking pretty good and dry. As we take a look at the forecast, though, chasing records, we are going to be looking at temperatures quite warm for the next several days here. The 2nd of February also happens to be Groundhog Day. Forecast is 68. The record is 72. Monday, we're looking at 70 for the high. The record is 70. Tuesday, same. High is 70, record is 70. And Wednesday, I'm expecting to shatter the record of 68. Forecasting a high right around 73 degrees. So really have to stop and take a look at the calendar to make sure that, yes, we are still, in fact, in early February. Future track, as we take you through the overnight, here's that cloud cover I was talking about. So again, expect to wake up with clouds tomorrow morning, but as we head into the afternoon, notice that it does break apart. So after lunchtime, more sunshine will be the story, and then the clear sky should continue as we head into Sunday morning, and notice much of Sunday stays fairly quiet for us all the way into early Monday. Area-wide temperatures in those mid-50s here for Nashville. Will be a little cooler up towards the Tennessee-Kentucky border. Highs right around 50 degrees. Same goes for Cookeville, Crossville, McMinnville around 52, Murfreesboro right around 53. Coming up, we'll talk more about these record events, and of course we'll have more too about what we can expect as far as our next rain chance is concerned. Today's weather was pleasant, but 51 years ago was a much different scene. Fox 17 meteorologist Brett Luna takes a look back at Nashville's historic blizzard.
We're going back to 1951. 74 years ago today, Nashville was in the middle of its worst ice storm in history. Although technically not a blizzard, it's still known as the Great Blizzard. It began on January 28th and didn't totally come to an end until February 1st. On January 31st, 5 inches of snow and ice had fallen. By noon February 1st, Nashville lay buried under 8 inches of snow and ice. The entire area suffered power outages. More than 16,000 homes and 80,000 residents were without power. Miles of power lines had to be restrung. Roofs collapsed from the weight of the snow and ice. And then hundreds of vehicles were just abandoned across the city, and thousands of trees had to be cleared from the road. No businesses opened for at least 3 days. Here's a couple of quotes from some locals. I'll just sum this one up for you. Basically, she was just saying that this ice is a deluge of the proportions of which one would not think the sky capable. So that was just a crazy ice storm. And then we had another one say that you would have thought fireworks were going off with the way that the electric lines were popping. So 2 people died in the weather-related car crashes and dozens more were injured. On top of the snow and ice, temperatures plummeted to -13 on the morning of February 2nd and -10 the following morning. Gas and oil furnaces had used all their fuel already by that point. That forced Nashvillians to resort to other methods of heating like wood-burning stoves. So on January 31st, 1951, more than 5 inches of snow and ice fell in Nashville. That produced a water equivalent of almost 4 inches, and it's the greatest one-day precipitation event for January in the history of Nashville. The snow and ice didn't completely melt for almost 2 weeks. So that snow and ice wasn't completely melted until February the 12th.
The crash at Reagan National Airport shocked the nation, but aviation experts had warned about the potential for disaster. I'm Atrell Nashar with the details coming up.
Continuing coverage now on the deadly mid-air collision in Washington, D.C. this week as the FAA is indefinitely closing helicopter routes near the Reagan National Airport. As Fox 17 News outlet El Nashar reports, the tragedy is reigniting concerns about the nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers. And you can let us know what you think about this issue by scanning the QR code that will appear on your screen.
Day 2 of recovery efforts on the Potomac Friday, as families of passengers on board American Airlines Flight 5342 and soldiers on a Black Hawk helicopter grieve the loss of their loved ones, investigators work to put the pieces together of how this happened. The National Transportation Safety Board says they hope to have a preliminary report out in 30 days, but a full investigation will likely take a year. Part of their focus is on the personnel who were on the ground at Reagan National Airport. According to a government report shared with multiple news outlets, the air traffic control tower was understaffed at the time of the crash.
We'll have an air traffic control group. They will do reconstruction and review of air traffic control systems provided to and including acquisition of pertinent flight track surveillance information.
Take a listen to just some of air traffic control's attempts to prevent the disaster.
Cat 25, this is Jersey in flight. Cat 25, pass Monday, Jersey. You see that? 472. American 3134 on from left end 250, maintain 3000.
President of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, Nick Daniels.
It is not uncommon for us to routinely combine positions, decombine positions.
A years-long air traffic controller shortage, he says, has taken a serious toll.
Right now, we have a controller shortage in this nation. 10,800 certified controllers are out there doing this job day in, day out, where there should be 14,335.
Democratic Congressman Lloyd Doggett of Texas has been sounding the alarm on this for years. He said this in December.
We have an FAA problem, the failure of the FAA to get us the air traffic controllers and the tools that those air traffic controllers need in order to keep us safe.
It was just in September that the FAA announced it hit its air traffic controller hiring goal of 1,800 in 2024. But training is long and intense. It takes 2 to 3 years before they can speak to aircraft on their own. In Washington, I'm Atrell Nashar.
During that story, we had a QR code on screen linking you with a poll asking if you think there should be a review of air traffic control management across the country. 185 votes coming in, 96.2% say yes. Our thanks for all who took time to cast a vote.
I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington. Coming up, hear from retired FBI agents and their thoughts on Kash Patel leading the FBI.
And first responders are still working to put out all the fires after a small jet crashes tonight near a mall and neighborhood in Philadelphia. What people who live nearby felt. Fox 17 News continues to cover breaking news in Philadelphia, where a small jet crashed in a busy residential area a couple of hours ago tonight. It was a private jet registered as an air ambulance. The FAA says there were 6 people on board. The sound of the crash and the flames and the smoke from the jet fuel sent people who live in the area scrambling.
Our house is shook, and we ran out back because we heard a loud bang too, and the whole yard was full of smoke.
Philadelphia's mayor is asking everybody in that area to stay indoors and away from what is being reported as a massive debris field. We continue to track this breaking news story, getting new information in almost minute by minute, and we'll give you another update on this coming up in about 15 minutes. Politics now covering the Capitol. Kash Patel, the president's pick to lead the FBI, isn't confirmed yet, but the wheels are in motion. Fox 17 News' Kayla Gaskins shows us what changes Patel plans to make if his nomination is confirmed.
Kash Patel, Trump's pick to lead the FBI, has what now looks like a smooth road ahead to confirmation. Despite strong pushback by Democrats during Thursday's confirmation hearing.
And he said that their headquarters should be shut down.
Patel has given stinging criticism of the agency.
And I will continue to call out corruption in government service.
His nomination by President Trump is seen as a move to reform the Bureau. He's promised to reduce the FBI's footprint in Washington and scatter those agents across the U.S. He also says he'll focus on addressing violent crime.
We let good cops be cops.
And increasing transparency.
The public trust can only be restored if there is full transparency.
Democrats worry once in power, Patel will weaponize the FBI to go after his political enemies, something Republicans have accused the Bureau of doing under President Biden.
There will be no politicization at the FBI.
Retired Special Agent and former Deputy Assistant Director of the FBI, Jody Weiss, says if confirmed, Patel still faces a number of hurdles.
He's got to have people who are that he can trust, that have no hidden agenda. They just want to go in and make the organization great again. He's got to bring in leadership to change the culture. Culture is driven by leadership. I think he's the right person. He is a disruptor.
Reports breaking Friday, many top FBI officials were told to resign, retire, or be fired in coming days. Another retired special agent and 21-year veteran of the FBI, Cesar Paz, says a Patel shakeup is what the Bureau needs.
I think that the end result is going to be a better FBI, a cleaner FBI as far as personnel goes, and a better service to the nation.
As for next steps, the Judiciary Committee is expected to advance Patel to the full Senate for a confirmation vote. The timing of these votes is still to be determined. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Looking ahead to Sunday morning now in Nashville in Focus, topics for the panel include the new school voucher law and the arm twisting that it took to get it passed. Those vouchers were the primary focus of a 4-day special legislative session that just wrapped up on Thursday. The plan opens the door for public money to be used to pay for private school tuition for up to 20,000 Tennessee students. Almost half the counties in the state don't even have a private school, but those lawmakers in those counties were under a lot of pressure to support school choice.
There was a lot of pull for people between the folks at home calling them and their school boards and their county mayors and their county commissioners asking them not to vote for it, and then having leadership asking them to vote for it. So it's tough.
We already know from the governor's own numbers, 63 to 68% of the kids who are going to get the benefits of this voucher plan
already go to private school.
Now, other topics on the show will include threats to leaders of sanctuary cities in our state, whether metal detectors should be required in all metro schools, and an effort to do away with the penny to save about $180 million. That's Sunday morning at 6:30 on Nashville in Focus. Understanding what went wrong. Fox 17 News talks with an experienced commercial airline pilot and flight instructor about the deadly crash tonight in Philadelphia. We continue to follow breaking news in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania tonight, where a private medical jet has crashed near a busy residential area and a shopping mall. You see the fireball there as it hits the ground. There were a lot of questions right now, still are, surrounding how this could happen just seconds after takeoff, less than 30 seconds. Joining us now with some insights is commercial pilot and flight instructor Robert Katz. Robert, thank you for doing this. What is your 43 years of experience, not only as a pilot but a flight instructor too, telling you about what could have gone wrong and made this happen tonight?
This is a very, very sad incident because it happened so suddenly and without apparently any warning whatsoever. Information from FlightAware indicates that this is a MedJet's flight number 56, a Learjet 55, which departed Northeast Philadelphia Airport to the southwest and traveled no further than about 1 nautical mile. Here we have a photograph of an example aircraft, a Lear Model 55. This is not the actual airplane that crashed, but this is what the jet would look like. It is a very high-performing corporate jet. It is well suited for air ambulance work, so the application of this airplane on this occasion is appropriate. And then we see on the data from FlightAware only 3 radar hits across a period of time of only 31 seconds of flight. The airplane is climbing at over 2,200 feet per minute, which is what I would expect from a Learjet, but then it disappears suddenly and catastrophically at about 1,400 feet above the ground, elevation out there being around 200 feet above sea level. My first impression of what may have happened here, pure speculation on my part, is some sort of catastrophic mechanical failure, probably due to deferred, cheapened, or neglected maintenance.
Oh my. Now, so what you're looking at, the evidence suggests that the plane broke apart in air. Is that why, it would lose, I guess, connectivity with radar?
Correct. It was a sudden catastrophic explosion in midair. And that's why I'm inclined to think that there would be no advance warning of what happened here. There was no call on the air traffic control audio back to the tower explaining any sort of a problem whatsoever. The airplane was cleared for takeoff. It took off routinely, and we do not hear from it again.
Well, from what you say, it sort of lends, I guess there is some credence to be lent to that, because we've had a lot of small plane crashes around here, and in every instance where the pilots know something is happening, it's obvious they are doing everything they can to steer their aircraft away, despite knowing they're going to pass, to keep it away from populated areas, and there was no opportunity, it seems, for that to happen in this case.
None at all. It appears that the airplane is following the extended center line of the runway, as we can see here on FlightAware, and it just disappeared in midair, disintegrated in midair.
Now, we can see from the video that we've been sharing on the ground, and I'm sure you've seen it as well, the ground's wet. Obviously, it was raining up there, but to your point, it doesn't appear that weather really played any role in what happened. Less than 30 seconds after takeoff, as you say, catastrophic failure.
Yes, the ceiling and visibility was poor, but certainly within the capabilities of the equipment of the airplane, and I would expect within the capabilities of the pilots flying. We can see from this image here that the airplane flew the extended center line of the runway for about a mile and then disappeared in flight. I can only hope and pray that the impact on the ground did not victimize people on the ground, but this crew would have had absolutely no warning of what's happening here and no opportunity to steer the airplane away from anything. This airplane just disintegrated in flight. In solid instrument meteorological conditions, there were the clouds, and very tragic.
Robert Katz, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. We very much are in your debt. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir.
Let's talk about the weather again as we continue. Robert was talking about the cloud cover not, creating, the problem here, but there was some weather up there.
Yeah, there was, and I think that's always something that the officials and the experts will look at, of course. But like Robert was saying, probably did not play a role, but still there was, as you mentioned. This was the weather report at the airport. If we take a look at Weather One, we are looking at the weather station report, if we have that. Okay, it is coming. Basically, there was light rain and there was some mist in the area.
Which is sort of, I guess, indicated
Low
from the
visibility.
video. Yes, and you can see water on the ground, but not a washout.
No, but something that was interesting is the fact that we had a low ceiling. So again, that ceiling is going to be the lowest level of cloud deck that blankets the sky, basically. And so the ceiling is something that aviation meteorologists will use to really give you an idea of where that lowest cloud deck is, broken to overcast sky. This was an overcast sky, meaning it was completely blanketed and only at 500 feet. So just 500 feet above the surface there at the airport. They were flying through clouds and, of course, had low visibility with the light rain and mist as well. But
no time
again,
to respond, as Robert was saying.
Right.
Katie, thank you for that on the weather. Let's tell you what's coming up. Looking for 2 points, how the Nashville Predators fared tonight against the Sabres and what the club needs to do to make the playoffs. Lost the University of Tennessee versus the NCAA. The big recruiting win today for UT.
Nashville Predators back in action tonight, looking to snap a 2-game losing skid and taking on the Buffalo Sabres on the road. Preds have played better since the start of the new year, but one area that's been killing them the last couple weeks, the power play. Specifically, the lack of power on that play. Preds 0 for 7 in that area in the last 2 losses, and unfortunately, back from that wild card spot. A big win for the University of Tennessee today as the NCAA and the state of Tennessee reached a settlement in their recent lawsuit dealing with the protection of student athletes' name, image, and likeness rights, also known as NIL. The lawsuit challenged the NCAA's ban of the use of NIL compensation during recruitment, but thanks to this settlement, athletes' name, image, and likeness rights now will be protected while they are being recruited. The case started last year with an NCAA investigation into UT athletics. Tennessee Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti sued the NCAA to loosen its hold over NIL restrictions. Other states joined the suit, and the case finally concluded today with the 2 parties reaching a settlement. The exact details of that settlement will be released later this spring. And in case you missed it, Titans defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons tearing it up on the dodgeball court last night. Oh yes, duck, dive, and dodge. Simmons was added to the Pro Bowl roster as a replacement, and he made sure to make his moment count. Checking out Simmons with the hot hands, part of the skills challenge yesterday. You could see him coming up clutch, catching the dodgeball there. Not easy to do for a big man. Now that the Pro Bowl weekend is almost over, that means we are just one more week till we're full speed ahead for the Super Bowl Sunday. Chiefs and Eagles battling it out in just 9 days in New Orleans, and you can watch it right here on Fox 17. And speaking of the big game, that brings us to tonight's viewer poll. We want to know, who do you want to win Super Bowl 59? This poll is live right now, so be sure to scan that QR code, cast your vote. Right now, it looks like the majority of people say neither, not the Eagles nor the Chiefs. But between the two, Eagles looks to have a little bit more of the advantage. We'll show those updated results later in the newscast. But for now, Jill Jelnick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
Coming up, we'll talk more about what we can expect over the weekend, plus more on the record-breaking territory that we could be in next week.
Also ahead, Trio ×2, the collaboration between Rascal Flatts and the Jonas Brothers. In education news, there are questions tonight surrounding how Tennessee's Education Reform Act will work once signed into law by Governor Lee. Currently, the state has a contract with Student First Technologies for the voucher pilot program, which currently allows families in our state in low-performing schools to use some state money to pay for private school tuition. Yesterday, state lawmakers voted to expand that program and offer up to 20,000 students in every school the same opportunity, I should say. Now, documents show the contract allows for expansion with Student First Technologies as the program grows, but the governor's office says it's not a done deal. Student First Technologies is under fire right now with issues with how it administered the school choice program in neighboring Arkansas. Arkansas actually ended its contract with the company after leaders say the company missed deadlines and had problems with its online platform. Critics argue that our state should look at other companies to handle Tennessee's new voucher plan. Previous story on Fox 17 News did not offer clarity about this process. We regret this error and are glad to be able to set the record straight. Katie.
Scott, overnight tonight, I think we're going to hang on to a little bit of this cloud cover as we go into the first part of the morning on Saturday, but eventually the clouds will clear. And we're gearing up for a pretty nice weekend. Temperatures for tomorrow in the mid 50s. And then as we head into Sunday, we're in the mid to upper 60s. So tomorrow morning, you can see mostly cloudy to overcast skies. Temperatures in those low 40s. So nice chilly start to the morning. Great for some morning coffee on kind of a moody Saturday morning. But again, as we get closer to noon, we will start to see that sunshine poke through the clouds. Here's a look at our 2-day rainfall from the last few days. We've seen a lot of it mainly to the north and to the west of Nashville, around 3 inches for Hopkinsville, Clarksville, Nashville picking up around 2 inches or so, as well as Murfreesboro. But notice where the bulk of rain has been to the north and to the west of Nashville. Then we take a look at our latest drought monitor that came out yesterday, and it continues to be more dire here for those to the east of I-65. So seeing extreme drought conditions still in Bedford County and out towards the Cumberland Plateau. There really hasn't been too much change from last week's update. And notice where we're not having too much issue, and that's for those to the north and west, which is where we had the majority of our rainfall. So a little bit of rain is good to see, but really could use more of it. And right now it's looking fairly dry. We don't see another chance for showers moving in until the middle of next week. Until then, we have the sunshine to enjoy, but it is going to be fairly dry for us here. But going to mention too, on Sunday, it's a big day in the weather world. It is Groundhog Day. 6 more weeks of winter or early spring. Who knows? This groundhog doesn't. He only has 39% historic accuracy, just so you know. But nonetheless, it is going to be very warm. It'll feel like spring, or what I'll call a false spring for next week. Because we will see some cold spells. We're not done with winter just yet. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We're looking at temperatures close to 70 degrees as we head through the week. And highs on Wednesday shattering the record. The record is 68 on that day, and we're going to shatter it at 73 with isolated showers and storms possible for Wednesday and Thursday. Scott?
Katie, thank you. Just ahead, Pop Goes the Country, the new collaboration between country greats Rascal Flatts and the Jonas Brothers. In entertainment news tonight, a collaboration worth checking out. It's country greats Rascal Flatts teaming up with the Jonas Brothers of pop music. Now, they've got a new single out, and it's called I Dare You. Nick Jonas is actually one of the writers. Rascal Flatts back together after a 3-year breakup, and this song is described as pop-centric with a little twang. And it is fueling the Flatts as they prepare for an almost sold-out world tour.
A witness who saw the tragedy unfold over the Potomac River now speaking out. I'm Jeff Harris in Washington. What he says was going through his mind as the plumes of smoke were coming off the water.